Hello, Michael Caraccio here with Just My Honest Opinion. This would be episode 7. It is Sunday, September 15th, 2024. I want to say welcome to new folks if you started off on this episode for joining, and say welcome back to those who have seen my previous episodes on several different topics. Uh, want to, before I get into today's subject, I'd like to just remind everybody that any of my videos will be found out on Rumble. I could really appreciate you registering and following my channel. My URL is right there. I know that's a little bit of a complicated URL, but I can't customize it until I have a lot more followers, according to Rumble. So I could really, outside of the monetizing portion of it and such, I'd be able to do a little bit more with the Rumble, particularly with customizing the URL down to something a little better, easier to type in. If you could please go out to Rumble, register, and then follow my page. That's where you'll find all of these episodes and all my videos. Uh, my email I'm including, as you see there, is mjcgemini@verizon.net. Uh, you can send me recommendations on possible subjects or topics and such you might want me to discuss, give my opinion on, or you might want to just let me know what your opinion on or whatever the topic is that I covered. All I ask is that you put JMHO in the subject line so that I can filter it out and make sure I don't miss it, because I do care to get your feedback. I really do, whether you're for me or against me on whatever my opinion is. I appreciate your input also, because as I try to give you folks who are watching these videos and such a little bit of different perspective and maybe some food for thought and such, I don't mind you if you give me some in return, so that we have that. And hopefully over time and such, I see that if it's interacting well, maybe I'll be able to, instead of just recording videos and such, maybe I'll throw in a few podcasts that we can do live and have instantaneous contact. So I'll bring that back up later with my site, with the site, Rumble site, and email. Once I'm done with this topic, again, I do have believe it or not, I have a kind of a long list of topics that I plan on talking about such. So I do try to decide, what would be a good one to talk about today. And with early voting starting, I think it either started this week or is about to start in certain states for the United States presidential election, federal election. Maybe you're, you know, voting on local representatives and such. But with early voting coming up, or starting soon in certain states, as I was saying, uh, I wanted to do kind of a contrast of one-day voting versus early voting, and also kind of make it a two-parter. The second part having to do with voter ID. So, to be upfront, I am an advocate for one-day voting, and I'll explain why. While I see some benefits to early voting and understand for some people there is a certain level of necessity for it because of their busy lives, or they travel, out of the country and such for business and all of that, that they kind of want to get it done. Yeah, I've heard people turn around and say they want to get it done and over with. I would hope that it's a little bit more, to take part in our elections. It would be a little more important to folks than an inconvenience or just one more chore they have to do. Particularly because of the country we live in. I mean, a lot of countries do have elections and such, but us being the unique country that we are, the republic that we are, in voting for our representatives and basically for the folks that we put in government to run things, um, we should take a little bit more pride and care in our selection. I mean, it should be a lot more than, oh crap, I gotta vote and just push a lever, punch a button, or just kind of scan something in. I would hope that as Americans, everybody would have a little bit more uh, pride. I think at the core of it and such, to be able to say, you know what, my vote does count because it does, and I need to participate in our democracy, uh, and it's important for the survival of our way of life, of our republic, and keeping the United States to continue to be the best country on the face of the earth, and that was ever created. There's we've had our slip and falls as a country and stuff over our illustrious history, but we have always persevered and have been persevering for the most part and such to fix the imperfections and to do as we have in our Declaration of Independence of forming a more perfect union. So we can correct it now. Um, Early voting again. I do understand that with busy lives and how things are and such, it becomes more of a convenience and stuff to get your vote in. And I understand that, and that's kind of how it is right now. So I'd have to say, if you are absolutely concrete sure on who you're voting for, um, you might as well vote early to make sure that you get your vote in and that you don't, forget to vote on election day, which is usually the first Tuesday in November. For those who don't know, this year it's going to be November 5th. So you want to get your vote counted and you want to have your voice heard. I know we got 330 million or so uh, American citizens in this country, probably more, could be more, could be less. But the thing is that each vote does count. We have had some uh, very, very tight margin, slim difference of uh, who we voted for over our course of our history. So when they say every vote counts, it really does. It really matters. 2020's election and such, I have an opinion on that. I'll save that for a different episode coming soon. But definitely, if you have early voting, vote. If you absolutely know who you're going to vote for. If you're still not sure, you have time to wait, but still make it, circle it on your calendar, make an alarm, whatever it is and stuff, to make sure that you go in on election day at the latest and get your vote counted. Um, I feel that one particular political party, primarily the Democrats and stuff, um, enjoy or and really benefit from early voting. Uh, it is pretty non-traditional for our country. We always seem to have had one day voting, an election day. Everybody participated. Everybody knew when it was going to be, and we all will go in and we'd vote. Um, growing up, I know that there was mail-in balloting, but that was what they called absentee balloting, which we still have, which is a very, very good uh, process. It may not be perfect, but from my understanding, the absentee balloting is that you would put in a request to uh, receive a ballot. They would send you one ballot and such to say, okay, from we'll say I did, and it's Mr. Caraccio. Here is your ballot because for different reasons. Maybe I was going in for surgery, or I was going to be out of the country for my job or something, and I wanted to make sure that my vote got counted. And that pretty much was the absentee portion of the absentee ballot. I mean, you would have to provide a reason why you needed that absentee ballot and why you couldn't do it in person. Um, you could send in that ballot early. However, the absentee ballot would not be opened and counted and such until election day, which again is still a good idea because, I mean, you don't want to start having people fighting over elections and what votes count and don't count and stuff until they need to be counted. You don't want to start discouraging other people to say, oh, well, they're so far out ahead, there's no point in me voting. Uh, you, you, you want to make sure that it stays within the realm of being fair and also not influencing those other citizens who might, be sitting there going, should I vote or shouldn't I vote? Because if you start to hear like, well, I was going to vote for guy A and, you know, but Miss B is winning, so she's so far ahead. What's the point of me voting? I mean, you don't want that to happen because then people pretty much start to get that my vote doesn't count, and then they start to not participate in our elections, which would be very disappointing because it is not only a right in this country and stuff, but I even look at it as an absolute privilege. There are countries and such that have, uh, you know, what they call fair elections, but they're not. And there's other countries and such that have dictators, uh, and their way and such. The people are stuck with whoever the government wants them to be stuck with, and they tell them who their leaders are. We are the ones that are saying who we want to be governed by, not led by, not ruled over. But we do need that governorship to occur and such, and kind of a you know 330 million people and stuff can't keep spending every day and stuff to take count of the direction and what you can and can't do in this country and stuff, and creating laws. Let's face it. So that's why we need the uh, folks that we elected and such, because we kind of say, okay, what's your goals for this country and such, and if they're in line with us, the majority gets to uh, vote on it and decide on who's going to make those calls. That's democracy. The electoral uh, votes is important so that you don't have large populated areas, states, cities, and such dictating to smaller populated states uh, to be the deciding factor on who governs us. That in a sense the electoral college was by design giving each and every state, no matter their size and population and stuff, their voice to vote also. I know on the news you'll sit there and watch it. You can watch it all day, and they'll just sit there and go, "Who's the swing state and who's not the swing state?" Um, it does change. It seems that sometimes over the last couple of years, it's been concentrated on certain states, but it does change. I mean, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin are states and such that are really mostly being talked about as swing state. Maybe Georgia, North Carolina now. It wasn't always that way. I mean, you also hear how red Florida is. I can remember a time and stuff when Florida was considered the swing state that influenced elections. So it does change over time. May not be from election to election or every 4 years like there's new states and such, because our population in our country and stuff does fluctuate in certain. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. I mean, people move around. So the representation of people and such in the population does go to different areas and such. So different states do get to be, we'll say, do get to be that swing state who can, tip the election one way or the other. Which is it's still a good thing. I mean, because it does have a certain keeping things fair and honest and such on our elections. It does provide some of that uh, uh, nuance. I mean, why did I mean, you wouldn't want New York and California and stuff to be deciding everything all the time. No offense, New York and California, they're very populous and such, but the thing is and such is that I don't think people in Idaho or Montana have all the same views that you do and such. And let's face it, I mean, because we are such a, our country's culture and such is so mixed. That's why we have 50 states. They are in and of themselves different cultures. I mean, we're very similar in some ways and very opposite in others. Um, I mean, everything is let's say on fast mode up here in the Northeast, where I'm from, because I'm from northern Jersey. That things might be a little more laid back in Southern California, South Carolina, and don't have as much hurry and hurry up and get it done as Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska moves at its own pace, and that's okay because it does become a thing of is folks uh, have different lifestyles, and that's okay too. So to do early balloting and such, some people are completely hard set against it, but that's our system. Whatever the state is, again, if the majority of the state decides that they wanted early voting and such, you're kind of stuck with it. Um, Again, the only issue I see with early voting is that you kind of end up making your decision before all the facts are in. Let me explain. I'm just going to use it as an example. 2020 election, there was a whole issue, I'm sure most people are aware, with contents of Hunter Biden's laptop. And there was that, which is already out there. I mean, everybody should know about it. It's not a conspiracy theory or anything. I'm just going to kind of summarize it based on what's out there. Um, it was stated by certain areas, or let's say the Democratic Party and their supporters and such, that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian misinformation. It was tampered with. It was nothing but Russian propaganda and all of this. And there was folks that were concerned, primarily we'll say the Republican Party, concerned with the contents of what was on the laptop that appeared to have uh, evidence of the Biden family being the Biden family outside of just Joe Biden, uh, but Hunter and some of the other members of the family and such were participating and being what they would call foreign agents because they were getting paid by other countries to do things. We'll just say they were getting paid to do something. I don't want to sit and debate right now about, what was being done and such. That's not the purpose, but you understand the explanation where I'm trying to get to. So, there was even folks from there was about 51 people from the I guess the security intelligence community. Used to be in the CIA, ran the CIA and such, who signed an entire letter that claimed the laptop was bogus. Okay. Now, flash forward, the election happens, Biden gets put in the White House and stuff, and then it comes out within the last year or two and such that, you know what, the laptop is actually true, and it wasn't Russian disinformation. And there was a kind of a poll put out there to say, if you knew that Hunter Biden's laptop was true and it wasn't Russian disinformation, would that have changed your vote in the 2020 election if you knew that before you cast your vote? And there was like a lot of, depending on the political party. I mean, there have been estimates put out there that will hide. I personally have seen more consistently and had more factual basis showing that there was about 20% of the voters out there. So that's like 1 in 5 eligible U.S. citizens who could vote turned around and said, wow, if I knew it was true, I would have changed my vote. And it seemed to be leaning, instead of voting for Biden, they would have voted for President Trump. So if you figure 20%, and I think I'm not even going to guess right now, I don't have it off the top of my head, as slim as the margin was for the 2020 election of who won, that would have actually flipped states from being a Democrat blue state to a Republican red state. 20% of the population, voters and such, that's a lot of people. And it was definitely a lot more than the margin of difference with the 2020 election that was given out there. So you kind of sit there and go, wow, you know what? Information is important. The most important thing is that we get to the truth. And if it was going to, without it, it altered the election from 2020. I mean, that would be a fair statement, in my opinion, because it did. I mean, if people stayed out of it and they were like, well, let's look at this. Hey, voters, you know what? This laptop is true and it needs to be investigated. I don't care if they were still investigating it today. It needed to be, not covered up the way it was. Zuckerberg from Meta, Facebook and such, even admitted and stuff that he kind of succumbed to pressure from the Democrats, primarily the White House and such, to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story. And by suppressing was, there's nothing to see here, move on. We'll just say that's what they were doing and such. I'm sure a lot of you would say, differently, that really that wasn't what happened, or they'll turn around and say they were doing so much, the government was doing so much more. I'm trying to just keep it, for the sake of argument and stuff, as simplistic as possible, and the argument basically is and stuff is that it was suppressed. The truth was not allowed to get out there, and that hurt You would have to say 1 in 5 voters and stuff from making a decision that they felt was even going to be fair. Okay. Um, Again, with that said, that's why I feel that early voting, under any circumstances, whether there's a laptop story out there or what they usually called and stuff an October surprise, which is a scandalous type point that either political side or even both political sides kind of uh, hold back on, in a sense, or somebody's holding it back, and then they unleash it just before elections and such to see if they can move the needle towards their political party. um that is politics. It's dirty politics if it's lies. But if it is something that has value and is the truth and will, you know, make people feel that, okay, now I have all the facts and now I can vote for who I want, either side. Um, if they had put their vote in, we'll say somebody's putting in their vote next week, this coming week. Here we are in September. It's about 2 months, a little less than 2 months away from election day, and you put your vote in tomorrow morning. And then you find out even that Tuesday, the following day, that there was some sort of scandal for either side. I'm not going to say whether it's President Trump or Kamala Harris. I'm saying either side, that whoever your your choice was, there comes out to be something scandalous. I don't know. They were driving drunk and killed a family. They were, stealing money. Whatever you want to turn around and just picture for the argument, for this. There was a scandal and stuff that would be enough for you to turn around and say, "Wow, if I knew that, I wouldn't have voted for them." Okay. Are you going to go through the process and such of going back and saying, I want to change my vote, which, as I understand, can be done on early voting? Personally, with our busy lives and such, I don't think a lot of people are going to go through that process. And that hurts our democracy and our voting process. To me, it does, which is why I'm more of a one day of voting person. I mean, if we had to have a national holiday, in a sense, that the first Tuesday of November is election day, and we set it up as a national holiday to make it easier for people to, take a piece, have a day that they say, okay, you know what, I don't have to go to work or school's closed. I know schools usually, when I was growing up, the public schools in particular and stuff would be closed on election day because that's where the voting would occur. So it made sense. And the thing is that really gave a lot of people an indicator to say, today's the day to vote. Things have changed in 30, 40 years. I get it. But still, the one day voting and such, if we could handle it, I don't know, something like jury duty, how I know some companies handle jury duty, or trying to think of other potential things that end up going on. You guys might be able to help me out and such, and send me a comment or something. I know there's certain things that they're on the books that companies, if you say that you have to do a civic duty, and I think voting is definitely above that civic duty level. I mean, it's much more important. Maybe I'm misspeaking it a little bit. I don't want to say that voting is more important than doing jury duty, but it kind of has a little bit more weight to how our country gets what direction it gets pointed in and sent off to. So that's a I kind of weigh it a little bit more. Both are important. But the thing is that like your job can't, your boss can't dock your pay because you had to vote, or if we can get something along the lines of that in play to make sure that people are voting together all at once as Americans. I know the lines sometimes can be long, sometimes it could be a little bit time consuming and such, but we're only talking about one day, and B, we're talking about our country. And you're an American, you're a citizen here. It should be important to you. I think an episode or two I had brought up, about America is I look at it as this is our house, and we should have say of what goes on in our house. We shouldn't let outside forces and other people tell us, where the furniture should be and what color it should be painted and how we run the house. That's why we have a House of Representatives. Uh, the simple thing is that should be ours, and we should be looking at it. I mean, we're not always gonna agree with our roommates on everything, and you know what? Who's doing the dishes and who's taking out the garbage and all of that other, little things that you might turn around and say having either a family in your house or being roommates in an apartment or something and such. I think you can kind of, you don't agree on everything all the time and such, but the thing is that keeping the house together and such is important. I think keeping this country together is important. We should all be participating on that one day. And here's the main point. Going back to what I was saying about early voting, and, I brought up the laptop example. When we vote on one day, all of the political noise from the politicians seemed to stop, at least from my personal point of view, in growing up, as long as I've been able to vote. It seems that, okay, everybody, they beat us over the heads with their political angle, and I'm better than that guy, and this, she's not as good as him, and all the noise stops, and then it's on us, and we have all the information. There is no more talking. There is no more, oh yeah, by the way, one more thing. To me, it was, okay, so election day comes, and you have that one day that you can turn around and say, I now have all the facts. I know who I want to vote for now. And you can turn around and say, I am now making the best decision I can make based on the facts I was given. Doing it early and such, like I said, to me does not provide that quiet. I mean, you can easily vote, 3 weeks ahead of everybody else on election day and just shut the noise out. But if something goes sideways and makes you look at the candidate that you voted for and stuck by and the whole thing, it was like, that's my man, or that's my woman, and then you find out that they didn't have your best interests, and they didn't have your values, and they didn't have a good, they really weren't going to go in the direction that you wanted them to take the country. I don't, again, I would hope that you would not take the position that, oh, I guess they got a fastball by me, better luck next time. I hope you would care more and see that, what, you were deceived, they lied to you, and they basically made you vote for somebody that you wouldn't have voted for if you had all the facts. And that's what one day voting to me brings, is you can still walk away, that even after the election, if you find out something about that person or whoever that candidate was that you voted for, even if there's something crooked, you can at least say, I, as an American citizen, did my best. I had all the facts that I can because they held them back. It's not my fault. I took all my facts. I took all of the facts that they gave me. I found that they were facts. You can believe but verify is a good thing. You can believe whatever they say, but verify to make sure that what they're saying is the truth. Um, you should do that to me all the time. Whether it's talking to somebody, your spouse, to talking to a neighbor, or talking to the cashier. Definitely should be doing it with our politicians, the people that we are voting for to represent us, and to um, steer our country and run it to where we believe it should be, and hopefully not into the ground. I think over the last, I don't know, 20 years and such, we've been coming closer and closer, and we've never been as close as we are and stuff to running this country into the ground as we are right now. And I think it is because a lot of people are scared, for one. Uh, they don't know what to do, how to do it. Um, there's a lot of fear mongering going on from politicians on both sides. We just um, the greatest generation is dying off, and we're just not taking that responsibility to be important enough for us to really take a good hard look at who we have representing us. Um, and if we don't do that, we're going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Nothing's going to get better. This country is going to head into a place and such that nobody wants. I don't care what side you're on. I don't care blue, red, purple, for all I care. Um, we need the truth, and that's the importance of having that truth. Um, I want to be able to go into that voting booth, go to my polling place to cast my vote on the day that the election is happening and stuff, feeling I have 100%, at least to me, uh, information on who I'm voting for. I do believe in, because they are giving me the truth, and I'm operating on facts and the truth. I know I'm being flat out honest with you. If I did early voting, I don't know if I would go back and try to get my vote changed if I found something different before election day about the candidate I did vote for. Um, and to me, that would also be something. I know a lot of people say, don't care what other people think. But when it comes to how this country goes, we should. I mean, if I end up voting for the wrong person for the wrong reason, and the wrong reason is that because I was too impatient and didn't wait for all the facts to come in, um, I'm not doing, my neighbors any justice, and I'm not doing them any favors. I'm certainly not doing any for myself. Um, and then, to do that and then complain about the direction of the country, well, that would be unfair too. It's like, because you were just trying to get that vote in and such to get over that, uh, you know, chore. And like I said, it's a right, but it's also a privilege to vote. I mean, take a look at some countries and such. They don't get the vote. They get told. And, they're, I to see, I don't know if anybody has and such, but remembering back to like Iraq, when that first was freed from Saddam Hussein. I mean, to see the pictures of the videos and stuff of those people with purple fingers and such and smiles on their face, they finally felt that they had a purpose on how their country was going to be run. They got rid of it, a dictator was out. They were finally saying something. And you know what? Whether it was true or not, well, if it wasn't true, it sucks. But you kind of, you have to look at those people that they believed it. I think we could use a dose of that in this country, that belief that, you know what? Because I still have that, but I do see a lot of people who don't. And, social media and stuff, yeah, I do spend probably more time than I should and stuff, and my wife probably isn't happy about it. But sometimes she laughs at me about it. Sometimes she just kind of goes, hey Mike, enough is enough. But I do kind of look at the social media thing, and some people I don't think are have feel they have a purpose for our country, and they should. Anybody who is an American citizen should feel that purpose, because we're all in this together. Again, the saying is united we stand, divided we fall. And if this country falls because people didn't take our election seriously, or or truly understood the importance of their vote, well, that kind of falls on all of us. We should be encouraging, whether they agree with us or not and stuff, but we should still be encouraging all American citizens to be out there and getting that vote, getting their voice included in the discussion, even if they come out on the other side and they end up being the minority and their candidate didn't win. You know what? But it still matters that they voice their opinion. Every single one of the American citizens, you gotta get your voice heard, and you have to put your vote in. Okay? If nothing, even if your person loses and the country starts heading to crap, you can turn around and do what I told you so. But you know what? You can help the people who voted for the person who screwed up the country and stuff to kind of see the error of their ways, so that the next time that they got to vote for that, in the next federal election and stuff, that you help them make a better choice. Again, that's how the more perfect union works in my eyes, and I hope you see and understand that, because you definitely don't want it to be a thing of missing your opportunity because you really can't throw your hands up and say, hey, it's not my fault, I didn't vote. My disposition and answer on that is yeah, it is your fault because you didn't vote. If you knew better, you should have been just as involved. Don't come back to me after the fact and such and try to convince me and stuff that, you knew it was going to go to hell. No. Did you vote? No, you didn't? Okay, then it's not that you can't complain away, but don't turn around and say you knew better. Me, as a voter, I'm telling you, the best I can do out there is, like I said, I take that one election day and stuff, and no matter what I am doing, I know that that's the day I need to get my vote in. All the arguments are stopped to me. All the discussion stops. It's now up to me as an American to make that decision of who I want to be in whatever office, whether it's local, town, the mayor and town council, board of ed, or we're going to be electing our next president and vice president and some senators and House of Representatives to point our country in the right direction. If you think that our country is headed in the right direction and stuff, I can't see how you would see that. I think the only people that do see that are people that are working for the demise of the United States. They want this country to crumble. That's why we're getting more and more divided, and divided we will fall, and that's the purpose. So hopefully, even with this election and stuff, if you truly believe in the one-day voting and stuff, you don't scoff at other people for voting early. That's their decision. But hopefully, if you end up voting, who you have to vote in, and it does come up to being certain way and stuff, get in touch with your representatives and start telling them and stuff, listen, I want to do away with, early voting. I want it to be only one day, and I want all of these things to be, because you can't. If you can get a bunch of people together and stuff to start signing a petition or whatever, going down that course, do it. But for now, early voting's there. And if you feel that strongly about your candidate, why wait for, election day? Who knows what'll happen on election day? You might not get the opportunity. If you feel 100%, this is the person I want elected, this is the person I want representing me and to win that office, you might as well vote if you have early voting to go to. You might as well. I mean, if you feel that strongly, get out there, vote, and say, I'm counted, I'm done. If you're still on the, definitely if you're still on the teeter-totter and you don't know which way you want to go, wait, make sure you have election day circled on your calendar, and no matter what you gotta do, you get to that polling station and you get your vote in. If you don't have early voting and stuff, same thing, circle that date, get out there and vote. It's how this country goes is up to you, it's up to me, it's up to we the people, and that's what matters. Now, not changing and stuff. And on that note, I'm now going to slide over to regarding voter ID. I'm baffled. Like you can't believe on why anybody in this country and stuff would be staunchly or even remotely against voter ID. I want my vote to count. I don't want someone else negating, I'm not saying canceling, but negating my vote, who is not a citizen of this country. I do not want, and this is how I kind of set the table for you. I don't want somebody coming into my house telling me who's the head of my household. If I'm the head of my household, my wife is the head of the household, my dog is the head of the household. It's my decision because it's my house. This country, again, is American citizens' house. I don't want somebody from another country turning around and telling me how my house should be run, who should be running it, how it should be run, what direction it should be going in. I don't think that's being racist, bigoted at all. I hope nobody out there feels that way, but if you do, let me know and let me know why. Don't just call me a bigot, don't just call me a racist or whatever and such. I don't want somebody that walks into my house, start telling me and such, who should be running this place? Me, or this guy, or over there. No. Are you a member of this household? You get a vote. Well, kind of. Ask my kids. But the fact is and such is that, no, I think majority rules in that sense, and it should be the majority of the people that do live here. Not people who just showed up. You go through the process, you understand our culture, you understand how we do things, you are educated in the American laws and such. Guess what? You become a citizen. And then you can now make that educated decision. Don't come in this country and turn around and say, you know what? I love communism. I think communism should be everywhere. That should be up to the American people to turn around and say, you know what? This republic sucks and we should be all communists. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Not if we don't let it. But the basic thing is and such is that if we make that mistake and go into becoming communist or a dictatorship and stuff, that'll be on the American people and the American people only. Nobody outside of our house, our country, should be telling us what we should be. We should be telling us what we should be. We should have those debates, those back and forths. And again, Even if we don't agree 100%, we only agree 80% on things. You're still a friend and an ally. Doesn't make you a 20% enemy. That's the basis of my thinking. I don't mind if we disagree on some things. If we're really not agreeing at all and stuff, yeah, give me an arbiter in here and such. Give me a referee or something to try to really help me understand your thinking, because I do these videos and stuff so that people understand my thinking, and I'm trying to provoke thought. And the biggest thing is voter ID. We need an ID to drive a car. We need an ID to, get served alcohol. No matter what, whatever your age is, wherever the state is, I don't know what they are. I know it's 21 in New Jersey and New York and such, and I think primarily everybody. But if you need proof, an ID to show at a bar and stuff to get a drink and such, and I don't see what voting infringes on. I don't know what, because like I say, it is your right to vote. It's a wonderful privilege to have. I would want, hey, look, this is me. Here's my ID. I get to vote. You should be proud of it. It shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, you wanna go take the SATs. I come from the IT world and such. When I'd have to go and get my certification tests or whatever and such. I'd show up, whether it was Cisco or whatever and such. Guess what? One of the first things they were asking me for is an ID to make sure I'm who I am to take the test. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want that. I think it should be nationwide. There should be a voter ID requirement to prove that you are a United States citizen. I'm not talking about walking up and saying, look, I got a freaking, electric bill. Literally have an ID. If I have to carry an extra ID in my thing that says, yes, born U.S. citizen or naturalized U.S. citizen, whatever it is, that gives me that opportunity to cast my vote as the law says I can, to continue to do that right and to have that privilege. Bring it on. Give me another card. I know I got a face for radio, but I'm saying, like, I don't know why anybody would be against it. It would make sure that there aren't people of bad character is being nice, crooks, phonies, people who are trying to, enemies of our country and such, to influence or, quite honestly, screw up our process and come in here and screw up our house. Look, that's our job. Okay? If we're going to screw up our house, we are going to do it. The American people are going to do it. And then we're going to try to fix it. We've done it in our past. We haven't made all the right decisions and stuff. But as the American people and stuff, we have to straighten it out. I don't want anybody coming in here and telling us what to do. I don't want them telling us and such like I said earlier in this, how to rearrange the furniture and what kind of color paint should be on the wall. No, that's ours. It's ours. Americans. And American citizens only. Sorry. It brings me into the thing of and stuff about illegal aliens and stuff. They can influence our government and voting and such, even without them voting, just by doing the census. I don't know how many people really know that. Because you end up with, the population count and such determines, I believe, how many representatives you get per state. If your population is higher, you get more representatives. I know after COVID and what was going on with COVID and stuff, there was a whole bunch of people that moved out of California into other states. Texas, I think Texas was one, and I think Florida was the other and such, that actually ended up adding an additional representative, congressperson, to their election pool. And California actually lost. and I think there was another state. I know I might not be using the right terminology, but I think if you look it up, you understand what I'm talking about. That is hard enough. That's why illegal immigration and having control over our borders and everything is so important too. I mean, you don't want somebody stealing your identity and such. Why would you want them to steal your country? I hope does that kind of make sense? I hope it does, because that's how I look at it. Is you don't want your identity stolen, you don't want your car stolen, you don't want somebody to, I see the commercials and such, I can steal your house by screwing up your deed or whatever and such. And people want to pay money. Oh my God, I don't want my deed stolen, I don't want my car stolen, I don't want my identity stolen. But you want people to come in here and vote and tell us how to run our house who don't have that legal right. You'll allow them to steal your country. That's confusing. That is confusing. And hopefully, I think we should start coming together as a country to turn around and say there really is no harm. One person, one vote. Why not have an identification card and stuff? Maybe it's your driver's license. Maybe they improve on the driver's licenses or something, and add that. That's as simple as that. If there has to be a photo ID to vote and such, use the photo you have for my driver's license. I mean, and if you don't have a car and you don't have a driver's license, that's gonna do photo ID. Go to your library, go to your town hall, go to. I'm sure we can set it up that we can get that done. I mean, for God's sakes, everybody's walking around with their phones and cameras and such. There has to be a way to do it. I'm sure we can come up. We're a very innovative country. For God's sakes, we should have a way and such to get a voter ID going on in this country. Is that make sure all American citizens who are of voting age have the opportunity and are able to fulfill their right as an American citizen to vote in our elections, and to make sure that nobody that should be involved in our elections is out. Again, like I said, I think I'm going to have to discuss in another episode and stuff the whole thing about the illegal aliens, the illegal immigrants. They're already influencing and stuff because they're kind of putting their they're being allowed to add weight onto our fairness scale in order to sway, who's going to have more representatives in the House of Representatives and such, so that certain things get passed, certain laws get changed or whatever. That's still not a good thing, and you have to look at it that way, because that's what happens. That's what ends up happening, and you start to quiet, let's say, being nice. The hell with it being nice. You're basically in stuff taking the voice of another state or so away, because the bigger states or wherever the illegal immigrants migrate to and kind of plant there, set up shop, they're putting more representatives into the House of Representatives and such for that state, and then there becomes more influence. We don't want that. We want it to be as balanced as possible and such, and we want it to be done by American citizens. Those people, they're illegal, they got to go back, and they have to come in the door with permission. It has to be that way. You wouldn't do it with your own house. And if you feel like you're going to be able to do it with your own house, do me a favor. A month would be ridiculous. How about for a week? Take the freaking hinges off of your front door and just leave it wide open. And you tell me how you're able to keep things that you don't want in the house, whether it's, I don't know, insects, animals, or even people from just walking into your house. You can't, and you know it. All we want is a door. And we want to be able to identify who's coming into our house. Somebody wants to come and check the meter in my house or whatever and stuff. I want to see their PSE&G ID. why is that such a bad thing and stuff when I go to vote? It's not. It's real easy. And if you don't want it, then you don't want it for the wrong reasons, even if you don't voice that reason, because it's not disenfranchising anybody. It's actually making sure they get franchised. That they say, no, 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 you can't keep me from voting. I have a voter's ID because I am an American citizen. There's more right about it than there ever will be wrong. And if somebody wants to tell me why voting ID is a bad idea, please, please, for the love of God, tell me, because I will have another episode and I will go, you know what? They have a point here. Believe me, I will. Give me that feedback. All right. I'm going to end this episode pretty much right now. I think I've said enough on both topics. I hope, like I said, I gave you something to think about and maybe ponder. Again, here it comes. There it is. I'm going to tell you that you will find these videos and such up on Rumble. I absolutely beg you, if you would. To be honest with you, I'm going to give you a little bit more honesty and stuff. I'm currently out of work, been out of work a couple of months right now. I'm not trying to make a living off of this and such, but every little bit helps. And, with the economy the way it is and such, I am trying to make a little scrap money on the side and stuff. And if this is a way I can make a little bit of spare change in a sense, I would definitely appreciate your patronage. Again, whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, and if you don't agree with me and stuff, hey, give me your feedback. Let's start that dialogue in a sense. Because if I ever do go podcast and stuff, I definitely would want you on my podcast and stuff so that we can debate and discuss a little bit. And quite honestly, I don't mind to be corrected on anything that I might say and stuff that might be objectionable, or I might be incorrect in how I'm approaching things. Please do. So as you see, my URL for Rumble, you're going to have to go on the site. You're probably going to have to register with Rumble, and then please go to my channel. I get enough people, but I need a lot of people, apparently, according to them, to be able to modify and personalize my URL. So hopefully I'll get rid of that C690245 and change it to something a little easier and palatable for folks. So please share. And like I said, most importantly, please follow me on Rumble for these videos. Anything you want to either add or comment on or whatever, you can leave them in the comments. I do try to check the comments. I do get alerts when people do leave the comments. However, if you have a little bit more to say, I'm not a big. I do have a X, formerly Twitter account. But I'm not a 240, 260 characters. I don't know how many characters it is, but it never seems to be enough. You got more on your mind and stuff that doesn't quite come out in 2 or 3 sentences and stuff. Please email me. If you disagree, agree, have anything you want to add to any of my episodes or topics or subjects, please do. Again, that's MJ Gemini at Verizon.net. Please put JMHO in the subject so I don't miss your email, because I do have a nice filter set up to get me to definitely receive whatever emails that you want to send me. And like I said, you might want to even come up with a recommendation, a suggestion or such regarding this. It's very, very, very much appreciated and such, and your feedback is always welcome. Hopefully I will hear from most of you folks soon. I know a lot of people. I have had quite a few views and such, but like I said, I really need the followers and such. I mean, views are just not getting me where I need to be. I really need the followers according to Rumble. And just again, I tried to explain to some people and stuff. I really didn't go the YouTube route. I mean, even though the videos are ending up on YouTube, their whole system and such, I just try to do uh, a drop so people can view. It just gives them another platform because YouTube is a little more involved than I want to be in such regarding these. And like I said, Rumble pretty much allows me to drop and go and get it out there to the masses. So I have another topic. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one tonight and such, or I'm going to do it tomorrow. By looking at my time. But I hope you enjoy these episodes and these topics and such. And, I enjoy doing them, quite honestly. So hopefully I'll see you next time. And again, my name is Michael Caraccio. Thank you for watching. And keep in mind, this is all just my honest opinion. Take care.